So one of the biggest questions I get is, why would I work with, and I think you've answered this already, but what are some of the biggest dangers of hiring a VA without going through a company like WorkSource?
That is an outstanding question. You can kind of look at it a couple different ways. The easiest, here's how I learned all of it. What did I do to fail at hiring virtual assistants? And then I kind of like listed them all out. And then I figured out how to reverse engineer success out of them. The failures that I encountered were the VAs didn't understand my business, right? So if a VA doesn't come somewhat trained, even somewhat with a little experience or background in your business, you're starting from scratch. And that can be very frustrating. So training and other challenges revolve around, well, it all comes back to training, if I'm being honest with you. If you don't train them correctly, they won't understand your business. They won't have answers to their own questions. They're going to come to you to give you the answers to their questions, which completely negates the whole point of creating people leverage. So you've got to be able to give people access to resources to find questions to their own answers. One of the reasons that I created all this is because I would have somebody ask me a question. A week later, they'd ask me the same question. And a week later, the same question. One of the most stressful things in my life was knowing my phone was going to ring 3 or 4 times a day with questions that I had already answered. It almost drove me out of the business. It's like, why am I doing this? So I had to fix that. And figuring out that, pointing the magnifying glass on what I was doing and how I was doing it wrong, really shine a light on, okay, well, they really don't understand. How can I help them understand? How can I make them feel empowered and give them the resources for that? So the biggest danger in all of this is having is that VA not understanding your business, what they do and how it's important to the business. And then if they don't perform their job, then you don't make any money and you can't pay your bills, and therefore you can't pay their salary and they're out. So you need to make sure they understand the importance of what they're doing and how they're helping your business out.
So something I think that's profound about what you just said is you recently placed someone who I referred you to, Mariella, who's a attorney actually in Ecuador, right? And that's something else, Chase. I don't know if he was going to talk about it today, but WorkSource has bilingual VAs as well. There's a slight price difference for bilingual Spanish-speaking VAs, English VAs. But something Mariella said to me recently when I called her and said, hey, the client's really happy with you. She said, what I loved about working with WorkSource was they helped me understand real estate business of the United States. It is very different. Real estate in the United States is different. The other thing she said that's very important is one of the dangers, I don't think it was mentioned here, is as an American realtor, there are legal requirements that you have. You all have Department of Real Estate licenses. It might be called Department of Real Estate and Transactions in a different state, but it's a Department of Real Estate license. If you do something incorrect or improper, you can stand to jeopardize your license. I know realtors who have hired VAs who were not trained properly, and then that VA sent something in their name to a buyer, to a seller, marketing, that put their license in jeopardy, right? When you work with a WorkSource VA, that is a trained VA in real estate, right? So it's a safety boundary almost that I think is very important for realtors.